This episode of This Printed Thing is sponsored by PCBWay. Do you have an idea that requires electronic parts? Let PCBWay help you design and prototype your PCBs. They also have other useful services available, like CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, and 3D printing, just to name a few. Prototype the easy way with PCBWay. Hey YouTube, thank you for coming back to another episode of This Printed Thing. My name is Mike, and Bambu has recently released its PETG HF filament, and I went out and bought 8 rolls of this stuff. I wanted to try out their filament and see how it compares to other filaments, PETG filaments that I've used from other manufacturers like Hatchbox, Polymaker, Sunlu. Bambu claims that this PETG HF is very easy to print with, so I decided I would test that. My biggest dilemma was deciding what to make with this stuff, because when I bought it I really didn't have any idea what I was going to do with it. But then I found this mushroom lamp that I decided that I'd make for my daughter. You see, my daughter loves mushrooms, and I tried to make her a mushroom lamp a long time ago for Christmas, and the Prusa that I was using at the time died halfway through the print. It was a big print, and I didn't feel like starting the job over because I'd already wasted all that filament. But I found this mushroom lamp on Thangs. I'll leave a link in the description. It is one that you have to pay for, but I thought I'd give this one a try because I thought it would be a good test of this filament. So let's get to printing. So I have here the stem, and overall it is really, really good. It always amazes me how much flex there is in PETG, but I obviously don't want to flex this too much because I don't want it to break or fold. But one of the things that you probably noticed in the time lapse when this printed was that there was a lot of blobbing and stringing. One of the things that Bambu says about this PETG HF is that you have to pre-dry it. You have to dry it before you use it. I thought that was kind of interesting because why wouldn't they dry it at the manufacturer? I mean, everybody else dries their filaments before they send it to you. So what I did was I put this white filament in my little single roll Sunlu dryer that I got off of Amazon. One of the things about this dryer is that it only reaches 55 degrees Celsius. Now that's fine for PLA. PLA you usually want to dry at about 50 degrees Celsius, but I put this white filament in that dryer for about 6 hours at 55, as high as it would go. And well, this was the result. And again, it turned out okay. I was able to kind of pick the blobs off, and I mean, it's a mushroom stem, so mushroom stems aren't meant to be perfect, so it'll work, it'll be fine. But I wondered if it could be done better. So before I printed the top in red, I decided to put the red filament into my Sunlu Filodryer S4 that I bought off of the Kickstarter that Sunlu did when they launched this device. This dryer can reach up to 70 degrees, which is great because with PETG you want to dry it at around 65 degrees Celsius. So I dried this red filament for about 12 hours before I used it. Now, as you saw from the time lapse, the red top turned out just great. One other thing is the inside here at the top, it had to bridge this because I did not print it with supports, and it actually bridged it really well. Bridging is something I've always had a problem with PETG, especially on the Prusa. that I used to have, the Mark III's Plus. It just did not bridge well with even PLA, let alone PETG, but this worked really well. And then I printed all the little white dots that pop into these holes here. So let's get this thing assembled. So I have all of the little pieces here. I guess we'll start by putting the dots into our red mushroom cap here. And they should just kind of snap into place. We have two different sizes. We've got, or two different shapes. We've got these kind of peanut shaped ones, and then we have these just regular round shaped ones. So let's get this done real quick. All right, so that's done, and I gotta say, each push of one of these buttons into these holes really gives you kind of a satisfying feeling, kind of like peeling a sunburn, I guess. Next, what we want to do is we want to glue this piece in here. This is what's going to hold our LED for the lamp. And for the LED, I bought the Bambulab LED lamp kit. And no, Bambu does not sponsor this channel, but I really like their products. And their stuff is very reasonably priced. The filaments were $15 a roll, as long as you buy 4 or more, and I bought 8. So this is $10 on Amazon or on Bambu's website. So again, their stuff is quality and it's very reasonably priced. But we need to glue this holder in place here under the cap. So let's do that. I've got some super glue right here. There, so that's in place. We're gonna give it some time to set and then we'll be back to it.
A few minutes later.
All right, so I've given this super glue a few minutes to dry, at least to the point that I know that this isn't gonna be coming out when we put the weight of the LED on it. Figure if I can't pry it out with my finger very easily, then we're probably good. So let's open up our LED, take a look at it. So that's it, and it's gonna mount right there. Somewhere in here should also be, there we go. So we have some double-sided, a round double-sided sticky thing. Anyway, put that aside for a moment. Undo this cable. So we have a couple of options here. You'll notice that there's a notch here at the top of the stem. There's also a notch here at the bottom of the stem. I'm assuming to give you options of where you'd like to route the cord. So I figure I'm gonna route it out the bottom. I just think that's a better option. So what I wanna do is I want to figure out how this is gonna be oriented. So it's gonna be oriented just like that, which means that I want the wire to go that way. So I'm gonna make a little mark on one side of this little white disc here, this holder, just to indicate I want the wire to go that way when I mount the light. So I'll mount it like this. This is just for my reference. You can do it if you wish. But let's mount our light. And we'll mount it just like so. So it has a USB connector, so you'll have to have a USB power brick in order to light this up. But we'll just snake it through here. Then you got your power button right there. So now we're just gonna snap it into place. Just like this. You can hear it kind of click all the way around. as we snap it in. And just like that, we have our mushroom lamp. But the question is, does it work? Yes, it works, and my daughter's gonna love it. So as far as my thoughts on this PETG HF filament, it's a good filament. Like any other PETG, it's gonna be pretty tough, and it's gonna be resilient to heat and other extreme conditions that you just wouldn't be able to put PLA through without seeing PLA deteriorate over time. I do find it interesting that you have to dry it before you use it. Like, why wouldn't the manufacturer have dried it before they packaged it? My guess is they probably wanted to get this product out, and maybe in the future that requirement to pre-dry it before you use it in your printer might not be a thing. By that point, they may have figured things out with their production, and everything's pre-dried for you. That being said, you still want to keep your filaments dry, so it would be a good idea to have a dryer. If you don't have a dryer, but you do have an enclosed bambulab printer like the X1-Carbon or the P1S, those printers can be used as a filament dryer simply by putting the filament in the chamber and using the heat bed to heat the chamber. In fact, the printers have settings specifically for that function. But that's it for this video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for sticking around. And if you find this material in any way, shape, or form interesting or helpful, please consider subscribing and give this video a like. And until next time, fire up those 3D printers and go make something awesome.